I just like the sound. I just like the sound.
So I have a whole bunch of new parts that I just got in from 402 Innovations. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we have 3 upgrades for the GROM in this box. But I'm way too excited, and I'm just going to skip to the most exciting one today, which is the 402 Innovations carbon fiber low-hanging exhaust. And we'll take a look at the exhaust here before we get to installing it. So here's the main canister itself, which is the carbon fiber component of the exhaust. So we have a whole bunch of stickers from 402 Innovations. I'll definitely have to find some spots on the bike to stick these on, but this is what I'm really excited to see. Very well packaged, as you can see. That looks so sweet. Oh my gosh. If you guys have watched any of my BMW videos, you know I'm a huge fan of carbon fiber. In the sunlight, this just looks amazing. So I'm really excited to get this installed on the bike. We also have our main pipe here. As you can see, fully welded, one solid piece, which is considerably better than a lot of the other designs that utilize springs and clips to hold the exhaust together. I much prefer the one solid piece. This is the main rear mount. I'm just gonna go around the canister and bolt to the bike, and that's everything. So first things first, we're gonna have to remove the stock exhaust from the bike here. We'll start off with a 10mm to remove these 2 nuts on the engine exhaust studs right here. Next, we'll be removing a 12mm nut and bolt behind the front foot peg here. You'll have to hold the nut from behind with the 12mm and then remove the bolt itself with the 12mm socket. Now the next bolt to remove here is pretty annoying to access. This piece of plastic trim just barely prevents us from accessing it. So we're gonna have to pull off the seat, remove this trim in order to remove this trim here, and we may have to remove the gas tank trim as well. We'll see once we pull it open. Okay, so here's the rundown. We'll have to remove a 10mm bolt right here, one right here, Phillips head screw just on the inside, and one more which also holds on the reverse light assembly. And it doesn't appear that the gas tank trim is actually affixed to this piece of trim that we need to remove. It appears we just have one clip, which we can probably release with a flathead. Probably also a good idea to remove this Phillips head screw to allow a little more flexibility. And now another Phillips head screw on the outside of the trim here. That should allow us to access the bolt. Yep, all right. So as you can see, we can now access this 12mm bolt as well as the top one to release the exhaust from the bike. Before removing those 2 bolts, I think I'm gonna get in here with a 10mm ratchet and loosen up that pipe clamp, which will allow us to just pull the muffler up and out without having any problems with the exhaust pipe. Stock exhaust is now completely removed, and I actually really like how it's opened up the rear end here. I think it's a huge improvement to the appearance of the bike. So here's our stock exhaust system, pretty simple as you can see, just a pipe and a muffler. I did see we got this little metal gasket piece. Not sure if we'll need that for the new exhaust, I don't think so. But we'll begin with installing the pipe here. Now because the exhaust we're installing is a low-hanging exhaust, we won't be routing it back up in the stock position, meaning we can reinstall all of the plastic trim. So I'm just gonna button that up before we complete the install of the exhaust. So we have all the trim buttoned up, and just a quick note, we'll no longer be needing the 3 12mm bolts that go in this area here as we'll be installing a low-hanging exhaust. The only stock hardware we'll be retaining are the two 10mm exhaust stud nuts, and you may or may not have an exhaust spacer gasket like this. And a quick note, I did have to reduce the angle of this bend here as we're installing this on a 2018 Honda GROM clone. The geometry is slightly different, so I did have to slightly alter that bend. Just a quick note, not really a big deal. If you have a gasket like this, it's a good idea to install it. Put that on top of the exhaust pipe and install it like so. And we'll now reinstall the two 10mm nuts on the exhaust studs right here. And I'm not going to torque these down quite just yet because it does determine the angle of our exhaust here. I'm going to grab our canister and we'll slide it on here. So we'll grab our beautiful carbon fiber canister and simply slide it onto the pipe like so. We'll want to match up these U-hooks for our springs, so roughly match them up in the right position here. And here's all the hardware we're going to be receiving with the exhaust. First we have our exhaust hanger here, which has a nice rubber gasket that goes on the inside. It appears we received 2 extra U-hooks and 1 extra set of springs here because we'll only be needing 1 set of springs, so we can ignore these for now. For this mounting procedure, we'll only be needing this hanger bracket here, this 1/4" Allen head bolt and nut, and 2 springs. We can ignore these fasteners for now unless we need them later. So I'm going to use a flathead here to pull these springs into place in order to secure our canister to the pipe, and I'm actually going to pull it backwards just so we can better restrain the bike here. Same thing on the bottom. And that will very well secure your canister to the pipe. Now to give you a rundown of the mounting system, I'm going to use this hanger, which is going to go around the canister here, and we'll be removing a 10mm bolt. We'll be slipping the bracket in place there, which is going to reach out and attach to our hanger. So first things first, we're going to remove this 10mm bolt right here on the back of the rear brake cylinder. You'll probably also have to unbolt the lower bolt on the cylinder just to create some space in between the cylinder and the frame here. Loosening up that bottom bolt will give you enough room to pull the cylinder back and slip this bracket into place here, and we'll then reinstall the 10mm bolt in its place. The last step here is taking the hanger, sliding it over the skinny part of the exhaust and then over the canister itself, and we'll be sandwiching the bracket in between the 2 flanges of the hanger. Then we'll install a washer and the 13mm nut on the back side of that bolt, and we'll now tighten it down, holding the 13mm in place with a box wrench and using a 1/4" Allen driver to tighten the bolt. Now that the exhaust is in place, we can torque down the 10mm brake cylinder bolt. And lastly, we can torque down the 10mm exhaust nuts. And that completes the installation of this beautiful 402 Innovations carbon fiber exhaust. As much as I'd love to start this up and get some exhaust notes, it's about 11:30 at night right now, and no one in my house would be very happy to hear it, nor would my neighbors, so that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow. I do have to say I'm extremely happy with the look of this exhaust. It looks sweet on the bike. I'm also very happy with the fitment of it. It's very secure, not going anywhere at all. It fits perfectly, so when the suspension moves, it won't be making contact with the swing arm and it won't be doing any damage to itself. I can't wait to take this out for a ride and see what it sounds like. I'm sure it's gonna be a huge improvement over the stock exhaust. Alright, so I've got the bike loaded up on the Jeep here with that beautiful new 402 Innovations exhaust. As you can see, we're gonna head down to the ridge and we'll finally get to find out what this new exhaust system sounds like. Alright guys, so I probably included a nice edit and some sound clips in the intro of the video, but here are my first riding impressions with the new exhaust. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah! That sounds sick! That sounds so much better. Get a little downshift action. Oh yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's crackling up a storm. It sounds sweet. Come back in by the camera here. Get a little external exhaust clip. I'm gonna grab the camera and bring it down here on the straightaway so we can get some straightaway sound clips. Good a spot as ever. I think this thing might be faster. We're hauling. I don't know if it's just the sound or if we're actually going faster or have more power here, but it feels like it's a little bit stronger. This is 1,000 times better. Oh, can actually hear the engine now. Doesn't sound like a little scooter. Sounds really similar to the Yamaha 125 4-stroke dirt bikes, and honestly, pretty much any dirt bike of that fashion. Just for comparison, if you're wondering what it sounds like, that's the best comparison I can give you. It just sounds so much better. It finally sounds like a real bike and not like a little scooter. It definitely feels like it's opened up the bike a lot more. The stock exhaust was extremely restrictive. It's honestly on the upper end of sporty. It's not quite obnoxious, but everyone's definitely gonna notice you on this bike for sure. I really hope my motovlog mic is picking up all these crackles. Here's a little demo. I'm really glad I installed this exhaust. This is definitely a must on this bike. I really wish I had some way to measure the power on this, but it honestly feels like we've gained some power here. It definitely has a little more oomph now. We'll pull over and check everything out. Make sure everything's secure, nothing's smoking or leaking. Open up my helmet here. Hopefully you can hear what it sounds like idling here once it's all warmed up. Sounds really nice. Come over here. It's absolutely silent over at the cylinder head. I don't hear any leaks of any kinds. Definitely worth the time to install it, and I would say it's well worth the money. This exhaust is of the highest quality. 402 Innovations does an excellent job of packaging and shipping. I received my exhaust 3 days after I was told it was shipped out. All extremely well packaged, no damage whatsoever. And as you saw in the installation, they included extra springs and hooks. I really like how it's opened up the rear of the bike here. That old exhaust really blocked up the view. and I'm glad we opened it up because we are going to have an exciting upgrade in the rear of the bike here. Feel free to leave some comments guessing what it is. That'll be out soon. But opening this up really makes me want to remove this whale tail rear fender here. I just think it'll look a lot more sleek and sporty without that. So that's probably going to be one of the upcoming modifications on the bike. Give you a couple revs here. So that covers the installation and exhaust note of this 402 Innovations carbon fiber exhaust for the Honda GROM. I'd like to pay a huge thank you to 402 Innovations for teaming up with me to mod out and build this Honda GROM clone. I hope you guys found this first upgrade. We have plenty more upgrades coming from 402 Innovations. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to subscribe and leave a like below. And one quick note for all you BMW fans, there will be some very exciting BMW videos coming out later this week and the following week. So definitely stay tuned for that. So again, one last final thank you to 402 Innovations for making this video possible. If you're interested in any custom GROM parts at all, be sure to check out 402innovations.com. As always, I'd also like to pay a huge thank you to Belmont Bikes for making this video possible. They have some of the best pricing out there, fast shipping, and they include all the paperwork with the bike. So if you're interested in getting one of these 2018 Honda GROM clones, be sure to check out Belmont Bikes at belmontbikes.com. That wraps up this video, and I'll see you guys next time on JD Cars.